Hi there, it's Chef P once again. I'm just going to take you through deboning chicken, and I just thought it might be a useful tool for us in these times where we want to make chicken stock from scratch and getting access to those bones. Now, when I was shopping out last, I got some chicken breasts with bones on them, and you could do this with a full chicken, and that's what originally I wanted to show you. But it doesn't mean that we can't get the bones from these breasts as well and use those. Most of the time when we cook the meat with the bone in, it gives us a great flavor. But we miss out on getting a stock from that unless we save those bones and put them in a stock too. But some people might find it gross that somebody's already eaten the chicken off of it before you put the bones on. So I'm going to take you through that process of just taking the bones off these breasts, and then I'm basically cryovacking them. So I've purchased a bunch of them. I don't need them all today, obviously, but before I freeze them, I want to take the bones off so I can save the bones to make the stock. And then I'll make another video on how to make the stock. Okay, so I will do a follow-up video when I get a whole chicken together. But I like to keep these bones from here. These tend to be less expensive per pound. So you get ahead by buying them this way, and you get the bonus of getting the bones with them too, which is great. So what you have to keep in mind is that on the inside, this one, sometimes you'll get just this part of the rib cage, and sometimes there'll be the little part that comes up in here. What you also have to be aware of is that the wishbone is here too. So we're gonna have to make sure that we get all that out, and I'll show you how to do that. Make sure that you have all your materials together first, okay? Don't be going around touching everything after you've been touching this chicken. It's very important that you get everything ready and make sure that you've washed your hands, and that as soon as you're done, you're gonna wash your hands as well. Okay, so I'm gonna be using my boning knife today. Okay, so it's a little bit more rigid than a filleting knife. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, from here, I'm gonna run the tip of my knife just against the bones. So I don't know if you can actually see that well. And I'm just going to run them this way. And I'm slowly going to use that away from here. Okay, and then there's that wishbone here. And then on the other side, this is where the wing would have come off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to free up that area, and you'll see that I can actually almost put my finger right through. I actually am. And so I'm going to take the knife and I'm just going to slightly cut through there. And then I'm just going to continue to, let me see, I'm just trying to get the best view here. Okay, and I'm just continuing, again, I'm just running my knife against those bones, and I'm lifting the bones up just to let the weight sort of work for me. Okay, like that. And that's it. So that's the rib bone. I'm going to keep that for my stock, so I'm going to put that aside. Now, on the chicken breast, what you have, okay, I've kept the skin on. I like to have the skin on while it's cooking. It gives it that nice crispy taste. It also helps to keep the breast moist when you're cooking it. If you're trying to lose weight and not get any extra cholesterol in your body, then obviously you could cook it with it and then take it off, or you could take it right off too. But what I find is it dries out the breast, and people cook the breast way too long. So on this part here, this is actually called the filet or the tenderloin, okay? And that tends to be on any animal the most tender part of it, and that's why they call it the tenderloin, of course. On the top of the tenderloin, you'll see that there's this little white piece of connective tissue that connects it to the bones and stuff. I like to take that off, and the way I do that is I just sort of pinch it, and it's kind of rubbery feeling. So I'm going to take that, and I'm just going to slice that part off. That can actually go in my stock as well. And then I'm just going to do a little check for any little bones or cartilage and make sure they're not in there. To make sure the wishbone isn't in there, just grab this top part of the breast, so there's the breast at the top, and just see if that bone is in there. And if it isn't, then you're good. Also, what you might find is a little bit of the cartilage might be here too. So I want to get that part off. The way I do that is I just run the boning knife under, and I just slide it off like that. It comes up, and then I take it off like that. And now that breast is ready to be used. Okay. Now, if I were to stuff this breast, what I would do is I would take this knife, I would make an incision through here, just in there, make a little pocket, and then I could stuff it with ham and cheese or whatever else. Sometimes I like to put goat's cheese and sun-dried tomatoes, pesto. It's just beautiful. So I'm going to take that, put it aside. I'll show you another way to do it. And in cooking school, they actually used to make us do these, do a chicken with just your hands, okay, where you weren't using a knife. I like the knife, but I'll show you how to do it with the hands. So what you would do is you just sort of work your way through here, and you actually just work your thumb through. Now, what I don't like about this is that you're actually getting some of the materials under your nails, and you have to do a better job cleaning. But you can actually just tear that bone apart, okay? And this one has a little bit of that backbone still attached. Now, it's kind of weird because one of the chefs at cooking school taught us to do it this way and refused to let us use a knife. And then the other one was going, are you crazy? Why wouldn't you use a knife? So I prefer the knife, but that's it with just my fingers. And then I'll double check. Now this little white part's here. I can't do that part with my fingers. So I'm just going to take the knife and I'm just going to take that little piece of connective tissue off. And I'm double checking through here for any pieces of bone. If you don't want the fat, you could always take that off as well. All right, and there I have a second breast that's sort of half lost its skin. And that's the other way of doing it with just your fingers. Okay, so I'm going to try to hit pause with my knuckle here, and then I'm going to wash my hands, and I'm going to cryovac these. Okay, and I'll show you another video on how to make the stock. See you.